So, I feel like crap for one thing. But, anyways, irrespective of how I feel, um, something that I find kind of interesting, and I'm not completely sure what to think about it, like, indefinitely, because, like, whatever, you know? But something that I think is kind of interesting is that, apparently, there are people out there in the world who are like weirded out by actually, you know what? I changed my train of thought. Um, I think it's kind of strange when people find it odd when someone reaches out to them. Speaking as a person who has not always necessarily wanted to reach out to people, mostly because of like anxiety and other things. Um, and honestly, people making me feel like a freak because of how I am. Um, I haven't always necessarily wanted to reach out to people, right? So, anyway, apparently people think it's weird. And I'm kind of like, I mean, okay, yeah, sure. I'll take your word for it. But at the same time, actually, you know what? Maybe my train of thought went back. Whatever. Um, at the same time, I'm also just like, do you know how cripplingly alone life can make a person feel? Like most people have friends. Most people like don't have trouble connecting with people. I mean, obviously there are many people who have trouble connecting with people. And apparently I'm one of them. It actually kind of sucks. So like the fact that I just laughed is pretty ironic. Um, and anyway, it's like honestly, on the one hand, I understand how it can be strange or looked at as strange rather. But at the same time, like, okay, fine. I'll just hang out with me. Like, I mean, that's one solution, I guess. And maybe I don't really care because, um, like, fine. I can hang out with me. I don't really care necessarily. But I don't know. I mean, to be fair though, hanging out with me hanging out with me, at least I know who I'm hanging out with. And it's not like entirely alone or whatever you want to call it. Because at least I know who I'm hanging out with. Whereas other people, you're kind of like, you're kind of like putting yourself out there for somebody who you don't quite know who they are. Like you might think you do, but ultimately, or to some degree, whatever, Lee, um, you don't really know who you're hanging out with. And I mean, it kind of works, I guess, but I don't know. It's like, okay, fine. If I'm too weird for you, then okay. At least, at least I know that when I'm hanging out with me, I don't have to overthink who I am or etc. because I know who I am. Whereas apparently other people do that. And it's like, no offense, I say what I mean and I mean what I say. Every time. Unless it's like brutally obvious that I'm not saying something that's truthful. Also, in all seriousness, why would I lie about anything? What good does that do me? Honestly. Like, that's just stupid. Or why would I BS my way into I don't even know what? But that's the point. What's the point? That's the thing. It's like, what's the point? Also, oh no, slight change of subject, but anyway, apparently people think that um a person just like talking for multiple minutes at a time is ranting. Um to me, ranting is when somebody is like angry and irritated and just blathering on about something. I'm not necessarily irritated. Well, you know what? I'm actually, I'm kind of irritated all the time. I'm not like actually irritated. I'm just saying I'm irritated. It's kind of like when you see somebody glaring, but they're not actually mad about anything, you know? But anyways, so I don't quite understand why people are all like, "Oh my gosh, you're ranting." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm talking." There's a difference between ranting and talking. There's a very specific difference. Ranting is when somebody is like up on a podium and or like any like political whatever, like speech. To me, in some ways that is ranting. Because or like RFK Jr., whatever his name is. Like blathering on about like blah 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 autism, this and that. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not doing that, for one thing. But also, like, what are you even saying? Are you even saying anything that makes any sense? Not necessarily. Um, but what I'm saying makes sense. Most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't. Although, when I don't make sense, it's obvious, right? So, anyway, I don't know. I I wish the world made more sense to me, honestly. I don't know why people are as opinionated or whatever. Sometimes it's also just like, my guy, I'm actually trying to communicate something. I don't care how many minutes I talk. Maybe it takes however many minutes to communicate something, you know? Not a big deal. Or rather, it shouldn't be a big deal. And a person shouldn't think that somebody is ranting. I mean, that would be like somebody saying that like pastors rant. Because like a sermon is however many minutes long, sometimes like an hour and a half, like an hour or so. That's 60 minutes of talking. That's a long time. And it all makes sense. And they're not ranting, are they? No. Admittedly, they're like preaching or whatever they're doing. So it's not ranting, actually. But I don't know. People don't make sense, frankly. Now, sometimes I also don't make sense, even to me. But I don't know. I wish the world made more sense to me, honestly. That is kind of a general statement, but I don't know. Also, sometimes things are very detailed, and sometimes the details take more time to communicate. And that shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be, but I don't know. Some people are like, oh, well, but. And it's like, but nothing. Like, but what? What is there to but about? Hmm? Really? Like, I don't understand. I wish I did understand, but here we are, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I wish it made sense. I really wish it made sense. I guess that's all I have to say for now. Emphasis on for now. Because I don't know. There's more to the future. The world hasn't ended yet.